Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to share a message that is crucial to your growth, your development, and your understanding of relationships. Too often, we find ourselves in situations where we feel undervalued, taken for granted, or even discarded. And when that happens, the natural human response is to wonder, should I take them back if they come back? You must recognize your own intrinsic value and never allow anyone to diminish it. This is the foundation of a healthy and fulfilling life, and it's crucial to your emotional, mental, and spiritual growth. Too often, we find ourselves in situations where we compromise our sense of worth to please others or to fit into spaces that don't appreciate us. But the truth is, if you do not recognize your own value, you give others the permission to undervalue you. You allow them to treat you in ways that do not reflect the greatness that is within you. Understanding your worth is not about arrogance or pride, it's about self-awareness. It's about knowing what you bring to the table and understanding that your presence, your time, and your energy are not things to be wasted on those who cannot see your value. You are unique, and your gifts, talents, and abilities were given to you for a reason. They are not to be hidden, diminished, or devalued because of someone else's inability to recognize them. When you acknowledge your own worth, you create a standard by which others must treat you. You set the bar for how you deserve to be respected, appreciated, and valued. This doesn't mean that you walk around demanding validation from others, but it does mean that you refuse to accept anything less than what you deserve. You walk with a quiet confidence, knowing that your worth is not up for negotiation. Now, you might find yourself in relationships or situations where others fail to see this value. They may take you for granted, or worse, they may try to tear you down, making you question your own self-worth. But here's the key: their inability to see your value is not a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of their own limitations, their lack of insight, or their failure to recognize the gifts right in front of them. Just because someone cannot appreciate who you are does not mean that you are any less valuable. It's important to remember this, because in those moments of rejection or devaluation, it's easy to internalize the hurt and begin to doubt yourself. You may even feel tempted to chase after their approval, to try to prove your worth to them. But let me tell you, proving your worth to someone who cannot see it is a futile effort. Your value doesn't increase or decrease based on someone's ability to acknowledge it. You were valuable before they came into your life, and you will continue to be valuable after they leave. Recognizing your worth is about standing firm in your truth, even when others don't. It's about not allowing the opinions or actions of others to dictate how you see yourself. When you understand this, you stop seeking validation from people who cannot give it to you. You stop trying to earn the approval of those who are blind to your value. And most importantly, you stop giving people the power to define your self-worth. Self-worth is an internal recognition, not something that can be granted or taken away by someone else. It is the deep understanding that you are enough just as you are. You don't need to be more or less to be valuable. You don't need to change who you are to fit into someone else's idea of worth. Your value is inherent, and it comes from the unique combination of your experiences, talents, and the essence of who you are. When you embrace this truth, you begin to attract relationships, opportunities, and environments that reflect your worth. You stop settling for less than you deserve because you understand that your time, energy, and presence are valuable resources that should be invested wisely. You begin to see that not everyone deserves access to you, and that's okay. It's not about shutting people out, but about being discerning with who you allow into your life. There will be people who see your value immediately, and there will be others who take longer to recognize it. And then there will be those who never see it at all. Your responsibility is not to force them to see it, but to continue to walk in your worth, regardless of their perception. When you live in this space of self-awareness, you naturally attract those who appreciate and value you for who you are, without needing to prove yourself. In life, people come and go, but your self-worth must remain unshaken. The moment you allow someone else to dictate your value is the moment you lose control over your own narrative. You are the author of your story, and how you see yourself will ultimately determine the direction of your life. If you value yourself, you will not tolerate disrespect, mistreatment, or devaluation from anyone. This is why recognizing your own intrinsic worth is so important. It shapes how you move through the world, how you interact with others, and what you allow into your life. When you understand your worth, you don't settle for less, and you don't let anyone diminish the light that shines within you. It's important to prioritize self-respect over seeking validation from those who have undervalued you. In life, there will always be people who fail to see your worth, or worse, intentionally belittle it. When that happens, your first instinct might be to prove them wrong, to seek their approval, or to regain their acceptance. However, doing so often leads to more disappointment and heartache. The moment you base your sense of value on external validation, you give others control over how you feel about yourself. Self-respect is the foundation upon which your confidence and sense of worth are built. It's the internal compass that guides how you treat yourself and how you allow others to treat you. When you prioritize self-respect, you operate from a place of strength. You understand that while external validation might feel good in the short term, it is fleeting and unreliable. People's opinions are constantly changing, and if you rely on their approval for your sense of self, you'll find yourself on an emotional roller coaster, always chasing acceptance, but never truly finding peace. Prioritizing self-respect means setting boundaries. It means recognizing when someone is failing to honor your worth and having the strength to walk away from situations that no longer serve you. It's not about being harsh or unforgiving, rather, it's about protecting your inner peace and well-being. When you respect yourself, you create a standard for how others must treat you. You teach people what you will and will not tolerate. Many times, people find themselves stuck in relationships, whether romantic, familial, or professional, where they feel undervalued. They give and give, hoping that one day the other person will realize their worth and start treating them better. But here's the truth. If you stay in a place where you're not respected, you are sending a message that this treatment is acceptable. You cannot change how someone else perceives or treats you, but you can change how you respond to it. Seeking validation from those who have undervalued you is a losing battle, because their inability to see your worth has nothing to do with your actual value. It's often a reflection of their own insecurities, blind spots, or even selfishness. When you prioritize self-respect, you recognize that their opinion of you does not define who you are. You stop giving them the power to influence how you feel about yourself. Now, let's be clear, everyone enjoys feeling appreciated and validated. It's a natural human desire to want to be seen and valued by others. But there's a difference between appreciating external validation and needing it to feel whole. When you rely on others to validate your worth, you become vulnerable to manipulation, rejection, and emotional instability. Your self-worth fluctuates depending on how someone else feels about you at any given moment. That's a fragile way to live. And it erodes your sense of self over time. Self-respect, on the other hand, provides a solid foundation. When you respect yourself, you operate from a place of knowing rather than needing. You know your value, and you don't need anyone else to affirm it. This doesn't mean that you don't appreciate compliments or recognition when they come, but it does mean that your sense of worth is not dependent on them. Whether others see your worth or not, you continue to walk in your truth, confident in who you are. Respecting yourself also means honoring your time, energy, and emotional well-being. When someone undervalues you, they are not just disrespecting you, they are wasting your time. They are taking up space in your life that could be filled with people and opportunities that truly honor and appreciate you. By holding on to relationships where you are undervalued, you are blocking your own blessings. You are delaying the arrival of the people and circumstances that are aligned with your true worth. It takes courage to prioritize self-respect, especially in a world where external validation is often equated with success and self-worth. But it is essential if you want to live a life of peace, fulfillment, and purpose. When you prioritize self-respect, you stop compromising your values for the sake of fitting in or being liked. You stop allowing others to define what is acceptable for you. Instead, you define your own standards and hold yourself and others accountable to them. And here's the thing, when you respect yourself, others will begin to respect you as well. People can sense when someone has a strong sense of self-worth. They are drawn to it because it is rare and powerful. When you walk with self-respect, you exude a quiet confidence that commands respect, even from those who may have previously undervalued you. The key to a healthy, fulfilling life is not to seek validation from those who do not value you, but to respect yourself enough to walk away from situations that don't serve you. You deserve to be in environments that honor your worth, and you have the power to create that reality by prioritizing self-respect. When people leave your life, especially those who fail to appreciate your worth, it's tempting to dwell on the rejection. You may wonder what went wrong, what you could have done differently, or why they didn't value you the way you deserved. But what you must realize is that their departure is not necessarily a reflection of your worth. Often it's a reflection of their inability to recognize and value what you bring to the table. And while it may feel like a loss in the moment, their absence can be one of the greatest blessings in your life. The truth is, not everyone who enters your life is meant to stay. Some people come into your life to teach you lessons, while others are there to support you on your journey for a specific season. But when someone who didn't appreciate your value leaves, you must understand that this is often a sign that they were not equipped to go where you're going. Not everyone has the capacity to recognize greatness when it's right in front of them. And that's okay. You cannot force someone to see your worth if they are not in a place to appreciate it. When they walk away, it's important not to chase after them. In doing so, you are essentially telling yourself that your value is dependent on their presence in your life. But your worth is not determined by who stays or leaves. Your worth is intrinsic. It's not based on anyone else's ability to see it or affirm it. When you truly understand this, you realize that their departure is not something to mourn, but something to embrace. Here's why when someone who doesn't value you leaves, they make space for the people who will. They clear the way for those who are capable of seeing, appreciating, and honoring your worth. If you continue to hold on to relationships where you are not valued, you are blocking your own blessings. You are preventing yourself from being open to the opportunities, relationships, and experiences that align with your true value. Think of it like this: you are a unique individual with specific gifts, talents, and qualities that are unlike anyone else. If someone cannot see or appreciate that, it's not your job to convince them. Their inability to recognize your worth is their limitation, not yours. By letting them go, you are honoring yourself and making room for those who will not need convincing. Often when people leave your life, they may not realize what they had until it's too late. This is not uncommon. When you've given your best to someone who took it for granted, they may not recognize the value of your presence until they no longer have access to it. It's only when they face the reality of life without you that they begin to understand what they've lost. And while they may try to come back, it's crucial to remember that just because someone now realizes your worth doesn't mean you should allow them back into your life. There's a reason they didn't see your value the first time around. If they couldn't appreciate you when you were giving your best, what makes you think they will treat you any differently now? People often come back because they miss the benefits of having you in their life, but that doesn't mean they've grown or changed. You must be discerning. Just because they regret losing you doesn't mean they've earned the right to return. When someone who has failed to appreciate you tries to come back, it's a test of your growth and self-respect. You must ask yourself, have they truly changed, or are they simply seeking the comfort of what they lost? More importantly, do you want to go back to a situation where you were undervalued? Taking someone back who didn't appreciate you the first time can lead to a cycle of disrespect and disappointment. Don't lower your standards just because someone finally sees what they should have seen from the beginning. Remember, you are worthy of relationships and connections where you are valued from the start. You deserve to be surrounded by people who recognize your worth and treat you accordingly. When you allow people back into your life who previously devalued you, you are sending a message that your worth is negotiable. But your value is not something to be bartered with. It is not up for debate. And when people leave your life, trust that it's for a reason. Trust that their departure is creating space for something better. It's an opportunity for growth, healing, and new connections that are more aligned with who you are and where you're going. It's not always easy, and the temptation to look back is strong, but remember that you cannot move forward while holding on to the past. By releasing those who didn't value you, you are not only showing them what they lost, but you are affirming to yourself that you are worthy of more. You are worthy of relationships built on mutual respect, appreciation, and love. And those relationships will come, but only if you make room for them. Letting go of those who didn't value you is an act of self-love. It's a statement that you are not willing to settle for less than you deserve. In the end, people who fail to see your worth may regret losing you, but that doesn't mean you should allow them back into your life. Their regret is theirs to carry, not yours. You owe it to yourself to move forward, to continue growing, and to create a life filled with people who truly value you. By doing so, you honor your worth and open the door to greater blessings ahead. It's essential to understand that healing and moving forward after someone leaves your life is not only important for your emotional well-being, but it's also a sign of maturity and growth. When someone who once played a significant role in your life decides to walk away, whether it's due to misunderstandings, personal issues, or their failure to appreciate your worth, it can feel deeply personal and painful. But this moment, as challenging as it may be, offers a profound opportunity for self-reflection, healing, and ultimately growth. Healing begins with acknowledging your emotions. It's natural to feel a mix of sadness, anger, or even confusion when someone leaves. These emotions should not be ignored or suppressed. The more you suppress them, the more they will linger beneath the surface, affecting your ability to truly move forward. Healing is not about pretending everything is fine or brushing your pain aside. It's about honoring what you feel and allowing yourself the time and space to process those emotions fully. It's in this honest confrontation with your emotions that true healing begins. However, while it's important to acknowledge your feelings, it's equally important not to dwell in them for too long. The danger lies in allowing your pain to define you or shape your outlook on life and future relationships. People often become trapped in a cycle of pain when they hold on to the hurt caused by someone's departure. They may relive the moment over and over, wondering what went wrong or imagining different scenarios where things could have turned out better. But this endless replaying of the past only keeps you stuck, robbing you of the opportunity to move forward. The key to moving forward is acceptance. Acceptance doesn't mean that what happened was right or fair. It doesn't mean that the pain you experienced wasn't real. What it does mean is that you stop resisting the reality of what is. You stop wishing for things to be different and instead embrace the truth of the situation. Acceptance allows you to release the grip that the past has on you. When you accept what has happened, you stop trying to change something that is beyond your control, and you free yourself to focus on what you can control, your present and your future. Moving forward also means redirecting your energy. When someone leaves, it can feel as though a part of your life is missing, but this is an illusion. The space left by their absence is not a void, it's an opportunity. It's a chance to redirect the energy you once invested in that relationship into yourself and your own personal growth. Too often people become consumed by the loss and forget that life is still happening all around them. There are new opportunities, new relationships, and new experiences waiting to be embraced, but they cannot be accessed if you are still holding on to what is no longer there. To move forward, you must shift your focus from what you've lost to what you can gain. This doesn't mean that you forget the person or the role they played in your life, but it does mean that you no longer allow their absence to dictate your future. You begin to invest in yourself emotionally, mentally, and even spiritually. You start to explore new interests, develop new skills, and engage in activities that bring you joy and fulfillment. In doing so, you not only heal from the loss, but you also become a better, stronger version of yourself. Another crucial part of healing and moving forward is letting go of resentment. When someone leaves, especially if they fail to appreciate your worth, it's easy to harbor feelings of bitterness or resentment toward them. You may feel as though they wronged you or that they should have treated you better. While these feelings are understandable, holding on to resentment only keeps you trapped in the past. Resentment is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. It only harms you. Letting go of resentment doesn't mean that you excuse the other person's behavior. It simply means that you choose to release the negative emotions that are holding you back. You recognize that holding on to anger or bitterness only prolongs your pain and prevents you from moving forward. Forgiveness is a powerful tool in this process, not necessarily forgiveness for the other person, but forgiveness for yourself. You forgive yourself for any mistakes you may have made, for staying too long in a situation that wasn't right, or for any pain you allowed yourself to endure. In doing so, you free yourself to heal. Moving forward also requires a shift in perspective. Rather than viewing the person's departure as a failure or a loss, you can begin to see it as a stepping stone to something greater. Every person who enters and exits your life plays a role in your growth and evolution. They may teach you valuable lessons about yourself, about relationships, or about what you truly deserve. When you view the situation from this perspective, you begin to see that their departure was not a setback, but a necessary part of your journey. It's also important to surround yourself with positive influences during the healing process. Lean on friends, family, or mentors who uplift and encourage you. Engage with people who see your worth and remind you of it, especially during times when you might doubt it yourself. Positive relationships can act as a source of strength and support as you navigate your way through the healing process. Healing and moving forward is about reclaiming your power. It's about taking control of your life and refusing to allow someone else's actions to define your happiness or dictate your future. It's about recognizing your worth and choosing to move forward with grace, strength, and confidence. When you commit to healing and growth, you not only overcome the pain of someone's departure, but you also position yourself for greater opportunities and relationships that honor the person you are becoming. When someone who didn't value you tries to return, it's a test of your growth, self-respect, and boundaries. After someone has left your life, particularly if they fail to appreciate your worth, there may come a moment when they realize what they lost. They may feel regret or seek to rekindle the relationship, hoping to regain what they took for granted. This moment, while flattering to some, must be approached with wisdom and discernment, because not every apology or attempt at reconciliation should be accepted. One of the most important things to understand is that their regret is not necessarily a sign that they have changed. Just because someone misses your presence does not mean they have developed a newfound respect for you. It's essential to remember that regret is often more about what they lost than about any real understanding of the mistakes they made. Sometimes people don't regret how they treated you. They regret losing the benefits of having you in their life. They may miss the comfort, the support, or the security you provided, but this doesn't mean they are ready to treat you any differently than they did before. This is where your growth and self-respect come into play. If you've been working on yourself, healing from the pain of their departure, and growing into a stronger version of yourself, you will be in a position to see the situation for what it truly is. You'll have gained the clarity and perspective needed to evaluate their intentions without being blinded by emotions. You'll also have learned that just because someone is now aware of your value, it doesn't mean you should allow them back into your life. Allowing someone back who didn't value you the first time can be a slippery slope. If they failed to appreciate your worth before, it's important to ask yourself what has really changed. Have they genuinely grown and matured, or are they simply seeking the benefits of your presence again? Too often, people return not because they have done the inner work to change, but because they feel lonely, regretful, or uncomfortable with the consequences of their actions. But if they haven't done the necessary work on themselves, the relationship is likely to fall back into the same patterns that caused it to fail in the first place. One of the key lessons in personal growth is that not everyone deserves a second chance. You've done the work to move forward, to heal, and to grow. You've built your confidence and learned to value yourself. In doing so, you've raised your standards for how you expect to be treated. When someone tries to return after having failed to meet those standards, you must be willing to protect the growth and progress you've made. Taking them back without discerning their true intentions can lead to a cycle of disappointment and hurt, as you lower your standards to accommodate their inability to meet them. At the heart of this decision is self-respect. You've learned to honor your worth, and part of honoring your worth is setting boundaries. Boundaries are not about punishing someone or holding grudges. They are about protecting the progress you've made and ensuring that you only allow people into your life who truly value and respect you. Setting boundaries means that you are no longer willing to accept less than what you deserve, and it's a crucial part of maintaining the integrity of your personal growth. It's also important to consider what their return means for you emotionally. Allowing someone back into your life can open old wounds, reignite past hurts, and make you vulnerable to disappointment once again. Before making any decision, you need to ask yourself if you are truly ready to face the potential consequences. Are you prepared to go through the emotional upheaval that may come with reopening the door to someone who has already hurt you? If they fail to meet your new standards, are you ready to walk away once again, this time for good? Your decision should be rooted in what's best for you, not in a desire to please them or in fear of being alone. You've already proven to yourself that you can thrive without them, that you can heal and move forward on your own. Their return should not derail your progress or cause you to compromise on the principles you've developed during your growth process. Remember, just because someone regrets losing you doesn't mean they are entitled to another chance. Regret is not the same as respect, and respect is what you truly deserve. There is power in walking away. When you choose not to allow someone back into your life after they have failed to value you, you are sending a message to them and to yourself that your worth is not up for negotiation. You are reinforcing the boundaries you've set and showing that you are no longer willing to settle for anything less than what you deserve. This act of self-respect not only protects your peace, but also empowers you to continue growing and thriving. Sometimes people will only understand your value when you show them that you are willing to walk away for good. When they realize that their actions have consequences and that they cannot simply return whenever they please, they are forced to confront their own behavior. This can be a powerful lesson for them, but it's not your responsibility to teach it. Your responsibility is to yourself to continue growing, setting boundaries, and allowing only those who truly value you into your life. The decision to let someone back into your life must be made with careful consideration. It requires wisdom, self-respect, and an honest evaluation of their intentions. If they have truly changed and are ready to meet the new standards you've set, then reconciliation may be possible. But if their regret is more about what they lost than about any real growth on their part, then you must be willing to let them go for good. After all, your worth is not determined by their ability to see it. It is determined by how you choose to honor it in your own life. In conclusion, recognizing your worth and standing firm in your self-respect is key when someone who didn't value you attempts to return. Their regret does not automatically indicate change, and it's essential to assess their intentions carefully. Growth comes from healing, setting boundaries, and understanding that not everyone deserves a second chance in your life. Walking away, if necessary, protects the progress you've made and reinforces your value. Ultimately, it is your responsibility to safeguard your peace and ensure that only those who truly respect and appreciate you remain in your circle. Your worth is non-negotiable, and your growth should never be compromised.